I think somewhere around a month ago, I had people on and off mention a game to me called Friday Night Funkin'. I saw some footage of it and didn't really care for it. I didn't really look at much footage to begin with, but nevertheless I kind of just shook it off and went on with my day. After stumbling upon some more footage though, I noticed a lot of the videos about this game were made pretty recently, as I thought it was just some old archaic Flash game, but no, this game came out like 2 months ago, and a lot of the views have like hundreds of thousands or millions, and a decent amount of big content creators have made videos on it too. To be honest, if you're an avid watcher of this channel, you're probably curious as to why I'm even bothering with this game, but given how much it's grown in the last 2 months, I couldn't help but be curious and do a little research on my own. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a look at Friday Night Funkin', get my general thoughts on it, and talk about what made it so popular. So for those who aren't quite familiar with what Friday Night Funkin' even is, it's a rhythm game project developed by the likes of Ninja Muffin 89, Phantom Arcade 3K, Evil Skater, and Kawaii Sprite on November 1st, 2020. It's a game that's still pretty early in its demo and is actively being worked on as we speak. An official trailer would be released for the game by Newgrounds' official channel on November 15th, 2020, but it didn't really take off until December 2020, where everyone seemed to know what this game was, it was trending everywhere, and the game had a little more meat on its bones too, I believe. So let me just get this out of the way. I didn't really care for this game. I was extremely bored while playing this game, and I didn't really get a lot out of it. But I'm going to explain why people do like it. This isn't really a game for an experienced rhythm game player. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The game's foundation is pretty much built on any rhythm flash game you would find in the mid-2000s, with a slightly modern tinge to it. It's a nostalgic, street artsy, funky bonanza that does a pretty good job at what it's trying to accomplish. And this is all executed pretty well. I mean, you got your catchy beats, the characters make these cute little noises every time they're singing, and the art style is actually pretty nifty. It's just challenging enough to where it doesn't drive the average newbie away, and it does a pretty good job of keeping them entertained throughout. If you play all the weeks back to back, it's a pretty short game. In fact, it took me like 20 minutes to complete it, so it's definitely evident that this is still in very early demo stages. Honestly, over time I found some of these beats to be pretty catchy, and the melodies do a weirdly good job at complementing them. Another thing to note is that this game has a really basic story to it, albeit pretty trivial, but nonetheless it has one, which I think is kind of what made the game a little more attractive. With a rhythm game, you're just kind of booting up the game, playing a song, and just trying to beat your scores. Something as simple as just throwing a cliche love story in there is enough to drive people to play this game, to be honest. Now, as for how the game actually functions, this is where I'm going to be a bit of a rhythm game snob and kind of pick apart at what I didn't really like. So first off, this game is entirely off sync, as I had to hit early the whole time, and I even tried the Newgrounds version to see if it was maybe the version I downloaded. There's no calibration tool to fix this either, so you're kind of just hitting offbeat the whole time. Parts of certain charts also don't look like they use the right quantizations at times, although it's kind of hard to tell since each column has its own color, so I guess I don't blame them for kind of looking over that. It can also just be embodying the old Flash rhythm game feel, as with most of those back in the day, usually they just had their own assigned color, or they were just one color, and the quantization was all over the place, so that could be the case. FFR is a pretty good example of this, as back in the day, all of the notes were blue, and the charts were created in Notepad, so it looks pretty similar if you compare the two, to be honest. I also think this game has a stricter late window than an early window, which I found to be pretty odd. I noticed for anything remotely fast, the game would just randomly drop inputs for me, and sometimes it would be on the exact same pattern. But if I was hitting intentionally early, and I mean earlier than last time, it would just end up registering. Lastly, the varying scroll speeds was kind of jarring at times, especially near the last song where I actually kind of had trouble keeping up with some of the notes at times. I think it's probably because they're equating difficulty with scroll speed, in which for casual players that is maybe the case. At least I'd assume for most people, but from a fundamental perspective, it just makes no sense and came off as, I don't know, kind of a rhythm game cliche, if anything, or like an old rhythm game cliche. But again, might be intentional, I have no idea. It's a quick, casual, turn your brain off experience that kind of relives the nostalgia people once had when they stumbled upon Flash rhythm games. And I think they nailed it on the head while sprinkling in a little bit of a modern touch too. It's cute, it's entertaining, and it gets the job done. So we explained why lots of people can like the game, but how did it catch on so fast? I mean, sure, it front paged on Newgrounds and was on their YouTube channel, but that alone doesn't excuse how much it caught on. My first guess was YouTube, but after looking around a bit, I noticed this game took off on the one place I did not want to go on, and that's TikTok. Let me just say right now, I absolutely hate TikTok. I pretty much put it on the same platform as Twitter, as they're both shit stains that permeate the internet, but nevertheless, I had to do my research and see how much it took off there. And wow, was I surprised. I didn't really expect people to gravitate towards this game so easily, since I assume TikTok is made up of younger demographics, and they weren't really around during the Newgrounds era. But I guess to be fair, this game does kind of have some modern approaches to it, combined with the fact that it's very retro, which does become trendy here and there. I know like retro things can catch on to TikTok every once in a while, so it's not all too surprising this game took off, but I didn't really expect it to hit like 200 million views. A good amount of these are cosplays, but there's a decent amount of ones that are gameplay related. A few of these were genuinely creative and very well done, but there's one person that I ended up stumbling upon that I just had to cover. So this guy right here, the XDF, he pretty much just does the same exact thing, or at least for all his popular videos on Friday Night Funkin' does the exact same thing. It's basically just 3 clones of him, and it does the whole back and forth like how Friday Night Funkin' does, and the only difference is he just changes costumes. It's funny because like he tried changing the song once or twice, and when he did that, his view count dropped significantly, which I found to be hilarious but also sad. I don't know, it just kind of confirms everything I know about TikTok, as in you just kind of do the same thing over and over again and people feed on that, and if you do anything slightly different, they just don't care. They're not capable of adjusting to different types of content. Even if it's the same concept, if you just change something as simple as the song, your views can go down by 900, 1000%. It's as TikTok as it can get, and I still don't get it. Like, I get it, but I don't get it, because it's just, I don't know, it doesn't even have to do with Friday night. It kind of just has to do with the concept of the game, except not really. That he just kind of puts an arrow overlay to make it look like it's Friday Night Funkin'. So the rhythm game aspect is not there at all, which I guess is fine, but the fact that he did 20, I think it was 20, 21, something like that. I don't know. I'll edit it somewhere up here, how many videos he did of this, and he's still doing it today. I don't know. You guys could probably think of other content creators that do the same thing. I just think TikTok is much more vulnerable to that type of content, and while I've never officially been on the site before until recently, it just confirmed all my beliefs on it. I feel like I'm being too mean. Am I being too mean? I might be. That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about on the TikTok side of things. The hashtag blew up, and it's still probably going today, and I just wanted to touch on one of the main perpetrators of that hashtag. So another thing I didn't really get was that along with his videos, a bunch of other people were using audio from another video where these 3 guys are yelling beforehand, and then it kind of plays Friday Night Funkin' music over it. Yo, yo, yo! Ah! Yo, yo, yo! Ah! Yo, yo, yo! Ah! I didn't get why, because why wouldn't you just, use your own audio? I don't know. None of this makes sense to me. Let's just move on to YouTube. So obviously the YouTube side of things has to be better, and it is. People actually really enjoyed this game, and it was pretty fun seeing people enjoy a rhythm game in general to this degree. It was a very refreshing feeling. It's not often you see a magnitude of people like this enjoying a rhythm game. especially since, I don't know, the Guitar Hero or Dance Dance Revolution boom, and even then YouTube wasn't really a thing back then, so I think this is one of the biggest rhythm game booms we've seen in a while. And lots of people went the extra mile and played through the whole game, albeit it's a short game, but still, not many people will really hook themselves on rhythm games for that long at a time. A lot of popular channels got a hold of this, and one of them recently, I think he has like 8 million subscribers and the video has like 3-4 million views. So this game is definitely still going strong on YouTube at least. Now with a lot of good videos made, obviously there's got to be some stinkers, or at least some stinker things being said. So someone sent this video to me on Discord and it was by Dashi Games. I'm familiar with who he is, but I only know him from this.
So loud.
The person that posted this in my Discord said they couldn't make it past the first minute, so let's see why.
Oh my god, man! What up? It's that.
I'm sorry to pause there already. I still don't, I've never seen anyone with such a bombastic intro. Look at him, dude. He's about to have a heart attack too.
Listen.
He's schmoving.
Okay, look. It's like a rhythm game, kind of like Dance Dance Revolution, but you gotta like be on beat and everything. Oh.
What? Come on. I mean, people have said some like, you know, it's like Guitar Hero for your feet. Like, I've heard some pretty bad things or bad comparisons for rhythm games, or like trying to make like a metaphor or anything along those lines, or like whether you're trying to explain any rhythm game. But I've never heard one quite like this before. I don't know how you can come to that conclusion. I think he just really got caught up in the hype of it and just rolled with whatever he was saying. It didn't bother to re-record it. And it didn't look like any of the comments took note of that either, which I also found to be hilarious. So what are my overall thoughts? Friday Night Funkin' still kind of leaves me feeling bittersweet, and I'll explain why. So while this is probably the most traction rhythm games have gotten potentially ever, I don't see a lot of longevity behind it. I think it's really going to struggle to retain its current audience, and a lot of people are going to be disinterested over time due to the nature of how people just play rhythm games. They think it's cool at first, you know, it gives them a little bit of a high even from like an adrenaline rush. It's just something very new for them, especially if they haven't done it in so long. But like a lot of people, they just slowly drift away from it and just go back to what they were normally doing. Lots of people did play this game because they genuinely thought it was fun, and they would still probably stand by that. But also a lot of people hopped on this game because it's trendy right now. That's what content creators do sometimes. I also don't think this game is properly representative of what rhythm games actually are nowadays. So many rhythm games out there have so much depth and nuance and content, and there's just so much to explore in rhythm games, and they're frankly not that hard to set up, but people don't want to go through the hassle of installing songs, installing themes, installing really anything else. They just want to boot up a game and play it. Honestly, it's kind of a reminder that if your game is really easy to set up and it's somewhat attractive, people can gravitate towards it pretty quickly, especially if it has a unique charm that Friday Night Funkin' does. But it does feel kind of weird for all these rhythm games to be overshadowed by a frankly gimmicky nostalgia trip. I'm not saying Friday Night Funkin' doesn't deserve the success they've gotten. In fact, I think the music artists, visual artists, and developers deserve full credit for what they've done. But I don't know, it just feels weird that people don't give these much more fleshed out rhythm games a chance. I'm really not trying to be mean making these points. I do appreciate what Friday Night Funkin' has done for rhythm games. It's brought them to the mainstream again, which we haven't seen in forever. But that's enough of me talking. I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think Friday Night Funkin' is a net positive for rhythm games overall, or do you think it's potentially going to harm the way people view rhythm games to begin with? Thank you to all my patrons for supporting the channel, and if you'd like to support the channel for more rhythm gaming content like this, feel free to check out my Patreon, drop a sub if you're new here, and check out my other links below. I'll see you all in whatever video I upload next, and take care.